Hello, everybody. This is Lacey here, and I am here to talk to you about something very near and dear to both Sean and my heart. The stat sheet. Yes, the stat sheet. The one thing that everyone loves to avoid because, yes, it's tedious, but man, is it powerful. I got to tell you, I am a huge believer in keeping track of your stats. And I don't mean like keeping track of your stats by inputting all of the information at the end of the year. I am talking about keeping consistent, up-to-date statistics on your business. Why? Because if you are an entrepreneur, it is vitally important for you to keep close eye on what's happening in your business, and your stats do exactly that for you. Your stats are a direct reflection of what's happening in your office. If you understand statistics of your office, if you keep track of them, you can analyze the overall health of your office. You're able to look at these numbers and figure out areas that you're weak in, that need improvement, and areas that you're super strong and excel in that you can focus more on. And if you have lofty goals, if you're trying to increase your target revenue, your statistics are an important and integral way for you to be able to do that. So listen up. If you're not sure where things are falling apart in your business, if you're not sure why you're not reaching the goals that you set forth, you need to be keeping track of your stats and utilizing those as a means of having a deepened understanding of what you need to do to take your practice or business to the next level. So keep your stats. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be giving you a better understanding of how to use the master stat sheet. So just really quickly, here is a basic overview of what you've got on the stat sheet. Obviously, first and foremost is our goals tab. This is the tab that you should be looking at all of the time. This tab will help you achieve your revenue goals for your business. And listen, this is a plan that you put in place to reach your target revenue. Plans are meant to be followed, and plans are meant to be revisited more than once. So here's the deal. If you're filling out your stat sheet the way that you should, you're opening this up every day and inputting the data, you'll be seeing this goals tab every time you open it up. So important to know where you're going and how you're going to get there. That's a whole nother talk. Also on this stat sheet, you could see at the bottom, we have multiple tabs in place. We've got a marketing goals tab, which we'll go over, the master tab, the weekly tab, the monthly tab, all of our quarter tabs, and my favorite, the new patient tab. All of these I'm going to be going more in depth with you so you get an understanding of how to utilize them, how to look at them, and what they do for you. So first up, we've got goals. First thing that you need to do is decide right here, at the very tippy top, what your target revenue is. Just a side note, as you can see, only modify the yellow boxes. Listen, the yellow boxes are meant to be manipulated, no pun intended. The blue boxes are already pre-input calculations for you. So as you input information into the yellow boxes, the blue boxes will auto-populate. So don't touch those bad boys. They are doing their job without any intervention. So over the next 12 months, my target revenue will be $100,000. For the sake of keeping this clean, we're just going to use clean, easy numbers. But for you, you need to figure out what your target revenue is. We recommend if you have stats for the last year, you do about a 10% increase in business. A 10% increase in any business is a great increase. And that's very conservative. You can obviously stretch your goals and do a lot more. But again, we recommend about 10%. So your target revenue is where you're going to input that. As a side note, if you're a brand new practitioner, you're an associate, you're just opening your office, you're a new business entrepreneur opening your space, listen, there's a lot of ways to figure out what your target revenue should be. You can ask other people that have the same business model as you. You can reach out to individuals in the Black Diamond Club and ask them what they did their first couple years of business. You can post a question in the Black Diamond Club to see what other people say. Or if you have a coach or a mentor, this is a great question to ask them to make sure that you're being realistic with your target revenue and not going way over the moon, as I've seen some people do. So, target revenue, $100,000. Next box is your expenses. This is a really easy box to figure out if you have stats from last year or if you keep a P&L. If you keep a profit and loss statement, you can easily pull up that P&L and look at what your overall expenses are and figure out what percentage your expenses are of the overall collections you have collected in the last year or 6 months or whatever amount of information that you have. And then calculate that and figure out what your expenses will be relative to the target revenue that you've put in box number 1. Obviously, Blue Box is a calculated box and will tell you what your total profit will be, subtracting those two numbers. Great. Now we're moving along just fine. Next up, we have the vital statistic goals. So here's the deal. I'm going to go over what these numbers mean, and then that will help us a lot as we move forward into the other tabs. But these right here, these numbers are utilized in calculating your plan to reach your target revenue. Over here on the side, you can see in this pink strip, it says, keep working. You need more new patients. Listen, as you fill this goals tab out, when you hit the amount of new patients that are necessary with utilizing these numbers to reach your target revenue goal, when you get those new patients dialed in and you understand how many you need, this lovely pink bar will turn and say, we have a plan. So that's what we're trying to achieve on this goals tab. So here's the deal. Conversion rate. Your conversion rate is how many new patients show up in your office for an initial exam to how many people come in for their first adjustment. That is how conversion rate is calculated. In the beginning, your conversion rate is going to be impacted in a lot of ways. Number one, you don't have the skill set that's necessary to effectively communicate and effectively sell your services. So we see oftentimes in the beginning of opening a business, this conversion rate is a lot lower, sometimes in 40s and 50%. As your skill set increases, your certainty increases, that percentage rate will go up. This can also be impacted by if you're pre-qualifying your patients or not, or your leads or your customers. If you get on a phone call with somebody that's looking to come into your business, you need to pre-qualify them. If you don't know what the pre-qualification process that we recommend looks like, you can easily find this in the Black Diamond Club members tab or members section on Facebook, and you can type it in, and we have plenty of Facebook Lives discussing just that. But if you're not pre-qualifying people, oftentimes this conversion rate will drop low because you're getting people that shouldn't have made it through your front doors of your office anyway. Lastly, you also want to take into consideration when you're putting in what you think your conversion rate should be for the next year, what kind of marketing efforts that you're putting out. Here's the reality of it, folks. If you're out there and you're doing a lot of marketing efforts that aren't going to bring in qualified individuals, like screenings where you're bringing in tons and tons of people, you know that they're not qualified, and those are oftentimes harder to convert. Maybe you're putting in a lot of money into Facebook ads, but Facebook ads are generating leads. They're not necessarily generating qualified people. That could decrease your conversion rate. So you should take your 2019 or 2020 or 2021, whatever year it may be, marketing calendar. You should take a look at the things that you've outlined for yourself and for your business and see, am I doing things that could potentially bring in unqualified leads? If so, you need to be conservative with the increase of conversion rate that you're putting from the previous year. Again, in the beginning, maybe we're looking at more 40, 50, 60%. As you get better at pre-qualifying and closing and selling, this has a tendency to creep on up. So that's your conversion rate. The next number that we're going to be inputting is the PVA. Your PVA is essentially how long a converted new patient stays with you. So PVA, when we're calculating that number, it's the total patient visits divided by new patients showed. So here's what's crazy. This can be heavily impacted if you're bringing in a lot of new people and you're not converting them. So when your conversion rate is really low, it will drop your PVA down, because when you're not converting new patients and they show up, they count as staying with you for as long as one visit. That's obviously going to drop that PVA. As people stick with you longer and you get better at moving people from their initial stage of care into wellness, that PVA will be increased. So that's how that number is impacted. So take a look at what your PVA was last year and increase that number to directly reflect what you think you can do this year and getting people to stay with you, retaining them much longer. And listen, everybody always wants to know how to bring more new patients in the office. But if you can increase your PVA, you can increase your amount of collections. So don't always just ask, how can I get more new patients? You need to start asking the questions, how can I retain the clients or the patients that I already have? Of course, in Black Diamond Club, this is a great question to ask, and we have a lot of strategies to teach you how to do this. Next up, we've got our OVA. Your OVA is how much a patient pays you per visit. This number is calculated by your total amount of collections divided by your total patient visits. This will give you your OVA. So you can begin to see on average how much your per visit price truly is. I've met a lot of people that say that they charge $120 and then their OVA is much lower than that. That allows you to understand and see that maybe you're giving too many discounts. Maybe you're writing off too much money. Maybe you have an AR or collections out there that you haven't been to collect on that's way too big. This number is very, very powerful when understanding what's happening financially in your business. That's your OVA. Last but not least is your CVA. This is your case visit average. This is how much a patient is worth. Over their lifetime, essentially how much they're paying you out of pocket. $2,400. The CVA calculation is PVA times OVA. How many times they're coming in over the course of their lifetime with you and how much they're paying each visit. That will calculate your CVA. The CVA is such a fantastic number. Why? Because your CVA allows you to understand how to spend your marketing dollars. When you're looking at marketing, oftentimes people will say that you should be willing to spend 10% of this number, this 2,400, 10% of your CVA to acquire a new client or a new patient. So 10% of your marketing budget should go to new patient acquisition. 10% is how you create your marketing budget. So you should be willing to spend $240 to acquire one new client. And here's the deal. This also allows you to understand if you're being really risky and there's an event out there that may cost you a bigger dollar amount. Let's say that that event was $2,000 and you're like, man, I don't know if I should do that. Well, here's the deal. Now that you have your CVA, you can say to yourself, it will only take me one converted new patient to make back that money. Anything beyond that would be a great return, would be all profit. So this is a really important number for you to understand. And this is why stats are so vitally important for you understanding the health of your business. how to make smart decisions for your business, how to make smart marketing decisions, and again, how to understand what's happening truly financially for you. So now we've got all of our numbers in place. Now what we need to do is we need to come up with a plan on how many new patients we need to bring in the door, taking into consideration our conversion rate, our PVA, and our OVA in order to achieve this target revenue. So this is where you begin to personalize your goal sheet. Magic Bullet Seminar. These are your new patient generating activities. This is going to be unique for you and your office and your business. In my world, I'll put a multitude of things. Things like BNI. A lot of our offices are in BNI. As you see, once you put BNI into activity number 1, it will auto-populate into the activity section over here. It will tell you, utilizing these statistics, how much your annual revenue will be from getting 12 people coming from BNI. Again, with an 80% conversion rate, a PVA of 30, and an OVA of 80. It's generating these numbers for you. Marketing number 2, maybe we say internal referrals. And maybe we want to get much more. Maybe we want to get 2 a month. 24. There you go. At 24 with these numbers, it's generating your annual revenue. So you need to look at the marketing efforts you're putting out and fill out these boxes. You can put your celebration dinners in there. You can put other networking events that you do in there. You can combine too if you're doing multiple sales opportunities like a ladies' night, a kids' day, a grand opening. You can put all of that on one and put how many people you need. For the sake of time, I'm going to put 24 on this marketing strategy. You will see, voila, we have a plan. Woohoo! So in order to get to our target revenue, I'm going to need about 12, 24, and 24, that many new patients over the course of an entire year to reach $115,000 in revenue. Again, if you want to hit right on your goal, you can begin to fiddle with this number to see that's exactly what I'm going to need. We're looking at about maybe fiddling. There we go. This many new patients from these marketing strategies in order to utilize the numbers I'm putting out in order to get to the plan of a target revenue of $100,000. So again, you can mess with this to create the plan that's necessary for you to get with your target revenue. Have fun with this. The other thing is now you can see how many new patients you need per quarter. So every quarter you should be revisiting your plan to make sure you can reach your goals. If in quarter 1 you didn't get the amount of new patients that were necessary to get there, you need to up your game to get them in quarter 2. That is how you use Goals tab. The Marketing tab is, as you can see, pulled from the Goals tab. So we need 53 new patients in order to achieve our target revenue goal of $100,000, and it auto-populates that number for you here. Now we need to say, what did we put in our marketing plan? In order to achieve 53 new patients, I am committing over the course of the year to how many new patient orientation classes? Maybe you do 2 a month, 24. How many professional referral meetings? Maybe you do 4 a month. You add that number in there and you fill this out. And listen, guys, you should revisit this as well and check off how many you're actually achieving. Every new patient orientation class you have, you maybe should create a box that says, I did 1, or whatever you need to do in order to keep track of this commitment that you've made to achieve your your target revenue goals. So that's for you and your eyes only. Next up, we have the master stat sheet. This is where you're going to spend the majority of your time. You will get to know this sheet intimately. What we've done is we have created all the appropriate calculations for you. Now listen, I just want to let you know these blue boxes you can actually fill in. The reason that we've created them to be blue is this is Saturday and Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? This didn't start on Monday. That's why I did that. But this is the week in yellow and then Saturday and Sunday in blue. So the blue can be filled out. This is where you're going to fill out your data per day. And by doing this, it will populate your weekly tab and it will populate your monthly tab for you. You never have to touch your weekly or monthly tab. You only have to touch the master stat sheet and then everything else will be filled out. So I'm just going to go over what these columns are and you can figure out how to input them. New patient appointments. This is how many new patient appointments you have on the books, okay? When you go to a screening and you schedule 20 people and you put them on your books, all 20 of those numbers should show up over the course of the next week or days that you have them scheduled. New patient appointments on the books. Next up, we've got new patient showed. So this is the amount of people that actually show up for their appointment. So if on 1/1 we have 2 new patient appointments on the books and 1 shows, we're going to put 2 here and 1 here. And here is the kicker. People always ask this question. Under the accepted box, you're only going to put accepted on the day that they accept. So it does not have to be when this person showed up. If they accept 2 weeks later, I go back here and put them as accepted. If they accept 2 weeks later, we're going to put them as accepted here. So sometimes this can skew your conversion percentage from one month to the other, especially if you have a big event, you schedule a ton of people the last week of the year, and then they all convert into the next month. Sometimes your conversion rate the month before will be very low, and then the following month will be like 130%. And that's just because it's showing you on your monthly tab what your conversions are for the month, not the entire year. So just something to consider with this accepted tab. Reactivated patient. This is anytime a person comes in, whatever your guidelines are for what you consider a reactivation. When they come in and they reactivate their account, you're going to put their patient visit here. If they're coming in as a regular patient, not reactivated, already established, wellness, initial stage of care, whatever it is, you're going to populate the amount of visits here. So maybe you see 18 people in the day and you've had 1 reactivation. That's how that's going to look. Your re-exam, depending on if your re-exam is separate from a normal visit, your re-exam, if it's separate, you're going to put re-exams here by itself. If it's combined also with the adjustment, you may instead put one re-exam and 1 regular patient visit. So it just depends on how your model is in your practice. No-shows is the amount of people that scheduled and didn't show up and didn't reschedule their appointment. So they'll be left on the books, essentially. So maybe that's 2. This no-show is going to help us calculate our kept appointment percentage, KAP, meaning how well people are doing at keeping their appointments and how well we're educating and empower them to do so. Total production is how much you produced in services for the day. This is not collections, but if your patients are paying you $10 a visit and you're seeing 5 people, your total production is $50 for the day. Write-offs are, let's say that you gave somebody a discount because they're a family member and you wrote off half the visit, which was $5, you would put the amount of write-off in that column. And then collections is how much money was exchanged that day. Whether you collected checks, cash, or credit cards, you will put the amount of money that you collected that day even if it's over or under your total production. That's how you fill out the master tab. Here's the deal. You should become extremely disciplined in filling out these numbers because trust me, filling them out at the end of the month or at the end of the quarter, or especially at the end of the year, is beyond frustrating, irritating, and tedious. If you can just get into the discipline of filling this out at the end of every day, it will take you all but like 2 minutes, and you will have a consistent current stat sheet for you to figure out what's going on in your business. So, master stat sheet gets filled out. You can look at the weekly stat sheet because it will populate what's happening that week, and you can see what your kept appointment percentage is, your production, your write-offs. Look, we collected $500, and our production minus our write-offs, net production was $45, which means we did good. We did great. We collected 1,111% of what we produce. Woohoo! I mean, if we could all do business like that, we'd be rolling in the dough. This also, you can see for the week what your PVA, OVA, and CVA were. Next up, we have our monthly tab. Our monthly tab is another one of my favorite tabs. This tab allows you to see the overall month, what has happened. Again, our new patient appointments, how many were on the books, how many showed up, and how many accepted. So your conversion rate, again, is showed and accepted. Reactivations, regular patient visits, re-exams, and re-exam rate. Remember, most people say that they do re-exams about every 12 visits. That means that this re-exam rate should be sitting around 12. If it's not, you need to have somebody, yourself or somebody else, hold you accountable to getting back on track with doing your re-exams every 12 visits. You can see how well you're doing. Total patient visits, no shows, kept appointment percentage. Again, 91% of the time our patients are coming in. That's fantastic. We want that number to be as high as possible because that means people are adhering to their care plans. If they're not, maybe we need to put some strategies in place to make sure that we're empowering them to make decisions that are going to impact their health in a good way. And that means coming into their appointments. Maybe you need to change your front desk scripting on talking about missing appointments or rescheduling. This is a very important number. Total production, total amount of write-offs, our net production, and of course, our collections. Again, giving us our collections percentage. And now you can see our PVA for the month, our OVA for the month, and our CVA. This is a great number. These are great numbers to look at and get a pulse on all of the time. You should be looking at this monthly stat sheet. And listen up, for those of you that have associates, this is a great way for you to see what they're strong in and where they need improvement in. And this is also a great way for you to keep track of their individual collections so you can pay them out accordingly if you're doing some sort of compensation or bonus structure. Lastly, this pink bar, you can already tell this is year to date. So this will be your yearly population of your numbers, and it accrues over the course of the year. So keep a super close eye on this. This is extremely important for you. Next up, we have our quarterly tabs. The quarterly tabs, again, this is you inputting in month one, how many people did I actually get from BNI, right? Because if I put BNI in the goals tab, all of those marketing efforts are populated right here. And it has told me how many I need to get from BNI every quarter in order to achieve my goals. So if you're keeping track of where people are coming from a marketing standpoint, you can see if you're hitting your goals or not. This is great. If I got 2 in month 1 and 1 in month 2, I don't need any more. I only needed 3, and I am well on track to reaching my goals through BNI. This is a great marketing resource and avenue for me. If I'm at internal referrals, 4, I'm on track. Maybe I only got 2 a month. We're too short. We need to pivot and figure out more strategies to get more internal referrals because we're not making our goals. So this allows you to see what areas and marketing strategies you're strong in and what areas need work. So make sure, again, that you're keeping track of these new patient generating activities because, again, this populates from your goals tab and it will tell you where you need to focus your efforts on. It'll also tell you down here where we are relative in quarter 1 to our target quarterly profit and what we need to do to get there. So again, I love these tabs. These are great to utilize in your weekly and monthly team meetings if you have those. And again, for you and your coach if you have a coach as well. Last but not least is my most favorite tab. This is the new patient tab. What I love about this is you should be, or your front desk should be, populating every new patient that comes into the office, right? What I love about this is you're putting their name on here. You're saying their new patient date, so when they were scheduled, and this is if they come in and show up or not. Where they came from. Oh, this is vitally important. Where did they come from? What event, what person, what source, what marketing strategy, what initiative, and how much you charge them for their initial exam fee. Also, how many care plans or visits you recommended to them, if they accepted or not, and what payment method they chose. Did they do monthly? Do they do pay by the visit? Do they do down payment in monthly? Find out what they chose. Next up, did you invite them to all the things that you need to increase patient retention or customer retention? Maybe this is your big idea class. Maybe this is a workshop. Maybe this is if you invited them to like your Facebook page or give you a review on Yelp. Whatever these can be edited, and these are specific and unique to your office. If they give you referrals, who are the referrals that they sent your way? How many people? This tab at the end of the year is going to give you so much insight on a couple of things. Number 1, who your biggest referral sources are. And when you're in BDC, we talk about it all the time. You need to find distribution channels to fill your business. This tab will show you who would be a great distribution channel. Who is an amazing power partner? And last but not least, this tab shows you what marketing initiatives are well worth your dollar and your time. Because there's a lot of marketing initiatives you guys think that are amazing because they bring you tons of new patients. But guess what? Those new patients, maybe they don't convert, maybe they don't stay, and maybe they don't pay well. And lastly, maybe they don't refer. So you can get an overall picture of where people are coming from, who are qualified individuals, what marketing efforts are worth your money and your time, and again, where qualified people that are a perfect fit for your office are coming from because they're referring on the back end. So I love this new patient tab. You should be looking at this all of the time and figuring out, who should I be sending thank yous to? Who should I be meeting more with? How is my initial exam fee that I'm offering impacting my accepted rate? One other thing. How are all of these things, the big idea classes, the workshops, the dinners, how are those actually impacting how long people stay? So maybe you want to enter in a new column that says converted to wellness and say what date they converted to wellness. Again, this is a super powerful tab for you to look at and understand your business. It will help you understand how to make better decisions and overall make you a better business owner and entrepreneur. So I hope that this helped you. I hope that you get this video, you listen to this video, and you fill out all these tabs. I hope that you revisit your goals. I hope that this helps you become more strategic and smarter about your business and the decisions that you make to reach your target revenue for the upcoming year. As always, if you have any questions or issues or concerns, or hey, if you just want to tell us how great we are, please post it up in Black Diamond Club members page or shoot us a message. You can email either of us, Lacey at thespecific.com, Sean at thespecific.com, and we would be happy to help you with any of your stat sheet endeavors. Happy creating, and I hope each and every one of you reaches all of your goals. Thank you and goodbye for now.